Welcome to Sonja Grace's Spirit Traveler. I'm your host and guide, Sonja Grace. Together we'll explore the world's most fascinating ancient sites, revealing their secrets through my research of spirit traveling. Alongside their rich histories, I'll share insights into what really happened and what the sites were used for, and how it can help our current understanding of health and well-being. Today, we'll uncover the mysteries of Stonehenge and how looking into the past can create a better future. In my book, Spirit Traveler, Unlocking Ancient Mysteries and Secrets of 8 of the world's great historic sites, I cover Stonehenge. This is one of my favorite places because it's really miraculous. In fact, everybody still scratches their heads today wondering, how did this get built? And who built it? And why? And sure, there are studies out there that people built it and that people dragged those stones for miles and miles to build Stonehenge. From my book, one of the most treasured prehistoric monuments in the United Kingdom is Stonehenge. It is an ancient round of stones surrounded by Neolithic and Bronze Age monuments. Stonehenge is located in Wiltshire, England, and there are constant discoveries and new speculations as to why it was built. British prehistory has very few records of Stonehenge's construction, but the oldest remnants of the site are the pine posts found near the monument. Scientists have carbon dated those and found that they are around 10,500 years old. Current archaeological thinking shows a pattern of development over a period of approximately 10,000 years at the site. The first excavation at Stonehenge took place in the 17th century by the Duke of Buckingham, prompted by a visit from King James I sometime in 1620. King James subsequently commissioned the celebrated architect Inigo Jones to conduct a survey and study the monument. Jones argued that the Romans built Stonehenge. So there's been speculation for a long time, and the construction of this site, according to history, it was basically built around 5,000 years ago. But the site had spiritual implications long before that. And certainly the Avebury holes are proof of that. We know that the blue stones and how they arrived from Wales could have been anywhere from 2400 to 2200 BC. But there's a lot of evidence that it could have been even earlier. The next structure of Stonehenge and the big sarsen stones getting placed is estimated around 3000 BC. And there is so much stuff that archaeologists have found from the burial mounds next to Stonehenge, which of course led people to think, oh, this must be for burial ceremonies for the dead. But in fact, it wasn't. And my findings there at Stonehenge, there were an amazing amount of ceremonies. And the ceremonies were taught to the people by the beings that I call the Ancient Ones. These are benevolent beings. You know, Christianity has all kinds of stories about Michael and Gabriel and Raphael and Uriel, the archangels, appearing before people and talking to them. The Ancient Ones are just like that. They are Pleiadians. Pleiadians are benevolent beings. Some people will refer to them as aliens, but in fact, they actually are a part of the demigods that came to Earth around 10,000 BC at the beginning of this phase of humanity. Atlantis fell, Lemuria fell, comets hit the Earth, all kinds of disruption. This is roughly around 12,800 BC, and it was hundreds of years in the process of all of this happening. It didn't just happen overnight, boom, everything was gone. This is a progression that happened. Roughly around 10,000 BC, when the dust settled and the Ice Age had started to recede, it was time for a new phase of humanity. Big portals opened up all over the earth. There were 4 in particular that were huge portals. One of these portals was over England, Scotland, Ireland, and the Nordic countries. These portals are like big flashlights shining out to the universe, screaming and yelling, "It's time, it's time!" And all the demigods come through. The Norse gods, the Pleiadians, the Greek gods, the Egyptian gods, the Hopi gods, the Mayan gods, all these different groups of demigods came to Earth. And they helped shape and formulate their group of people. There weren't a lot of people on Earth at this time, and they did come through and appear to the people. In fact, there's stories of the Norse gods taking human form and walking amongst the people. Stonehenge was built for the purpose of this connection to the ancient ones. When they built Stonehenge roughly around 4000 BC, it was them who erected those stones and placed the blue stones around that circle. It was the ancient ones who did this. And they did it so that they could leave the message for the people that this is their last time visiting, and that they wanted the people to have this place to remember all that they had taught them. This was very important because once the gods stop coming and stop interacting with the people start to become sort of desperate. They start to feel like they've been left. Everybody starts to experience that abandonment. Oh goodness, I'm separated from Source. Subsequently, the people started burying the high priestesses who were managing and governing this sacred site next to Stonehenge. And the burial mounds started to include elite, the more wealthy people, everybody who wanted to be closer to the gods were being buried by the site. When I spirit traveled there, the site was created as a part of what was a much larger portal, and that would be Salisbury Plain, where Stonehenge is located. Salisbury Plain is, in fact, a very large portal where the energy comes up out of the earth and the energy comes down from the heavens to earth. There is a two-way kind of freeway going on, and the people used Stonehenge as a fertility rites ceremonial site. The high priestesses co-manifested the children that were born with the demigods, with the ancient ones. And there was a whole race of beings that came about from this time period, 4000 BC and earlier to 10,000 BC. There's this whole race of beings that came about from that cross-pollination of the high priestesses and the demigods that heralded the next phase of spiritualism in the UK. And that's roughly around the end of their time of 4000 BC, going back now to 3000 BC. Now we've had 1,000 years for everybody to wonder what happened to the demigods, how come they're not coming to us, and men starting to take control and starting to formulate they needed to have the power, not the women. And that's when that shift took place. And the Druid practice became something much more about the men and the rituals being taken over by the men. In my spirit travels back to that site, what I found really interesting is there were all kinds of symbolism. I realized I was standing in a circle made by the stones and shaped like the letter C. At the opening of the C shape is a causeway. Clearly, this represents the impregnation of the people. It's a phallic symbol, and the circle is the womb. The female Ancient One came forward with a nod, acknowledging telepathically that I was indeed correct.
Stonehenge was not merely a monument, but a pivotal site where the Ancient Ones, like us and humans, intertwined destinies. It was here that we procreated, blending our essences to seed a new, advanced race of humans. This union was sanctified through elaborate ceremonies, echoing the cosmic balance we sought to maintain. Yet, despite our intentions, human understanding in those times remained nascent. Their reverence was confined to worship of us as demigods, often expressed through ritualistic practices. It was a limited understanding, rooted in awe, yet confined by the horizons of their world. When the blue stones and the massive sarsen stones were finally set into the ground, it was a signal, an end to our direct interventions. We had prepared the humans for this transition from the very beginning of this new era. Yet, as we stepped back, a deep-seated anxiety began to take root among them. They had grown dependent on our presence, and the thought of navigating their existence without our guidance stirred a profound separation anxiety. This anxiety has spanned millennia, a lingering echo of a past where gods and humans walked side by side. It serves as a reminder of the deep connections we forged and the profound impact we, the Ancient Ones, have had on the course of human history.
This is how we kind of departed from the goddess worship and the understanding that, we were tied to the goddess. The women ran those ceremonies. The women were in charge of setting up everything within Stonehenge. Of course, we all know that it's aligned with the summer solstice, and the Ancient Ones would come and visit the people during the equinox and the solstices. There's so much in this that we forget today, and this is where I think it's important that we all think about, what am I going to learn from the past that's going to help me to create a better future? In the ancient times, what they were most concerned with was fertility. Fertility of the land, lots of crops, and lots of beautiful fruition in the fall when they harvested, and lots of children. And I think when we think about sites like this and how all the stone circles have either energy coming from the cosmos infusing the earth, or earth energy going out, or there is like Stonehenge both coming in and going out, that this is a supercharged piece of land. I found it so interesting that I had put my head to the stones when I spirit traveled back, and I found that the stones were speaking, that they were incredibly filled with spirit. The plants, the trees, the stones, the river, the water, all of it has spirit. But these stones were speaking, they were sharing their love for the Pleiadians, they were sharing their love for the people, but they were very, very sad that so much of the energy that they had brought to help create that space had been taken, depleted of that energy. And that has to do with humans and the lack of respect for a sacred site. If you decide to become a traveler and go visit places and see what kind of energy is there, I really want you to remember to enter a place with respect, with an awareness that you are visiting and that you're going to ask permission to enter that site. You're going to maybe even bring an offering and put it on the ground and say a little prayer so that you have permission to enter that place. There's so many things on earth that are not for the taking, and we humans tend to believe everything is here for us. I'm going to really encourage my listeners to kind of change that perspective. It's not all for us, and that we need to really walk with reverence and respect for these places. Now, how does Stonehenge relate to anything that has to do with healing or our bodies? Back in the day, these stone circles were identifying portals. That's what they really were marking. Hey, there's a big portal here, and we can receive healing from this portal, and we can experience the demigods. We can experience a lot of cosmic energy inside this stone circle. I visited the stone circle that's very near Stonehenge called Avebury Circle. And this is a massive stone circle. There's actually a little village built in the middle of it. When I spirit traveled to it, I was shown that it actually was the hospital for the area of Salisbury Plain. And the energy coming into this stone circle is very similar because it's a part of that bigger portal I talked about on Salisbury Plain. There is a place in Avebury that's called the Cove, and it's these big stones that are kind of leaning in towards each other, and the person who was sick would stand in the cove and get assessed. The high priestesses would give you your assessment as to what was going on, and then you would be led to one of 3 pits that were dug into the ground. These are like earth pits, and you would lay down in whichever one you were told to go into, and you would receive the healing. In one of these pits, it was so intense, the energy, that sometimes people were literally gone, and then they would come back. The magic that existed on Earth back in these times was beyond what people understand today. There's things out there in nature that are very, very powerful, and we don't understand all of those things because we're so far from it now. We walk on sidewalks, we drive cars, we don't live in connection to the earth. That's what these people did. They lived totally connected to her, to the planet, and it was powerful what they experienced. The healing that happens in these spaces is what the people relied on. Sure, there was herbal medicine, and there were people who adjusted bones and did all kinds of work on each other, but there were these special places on the planet where you could actually get healing. And there's another stone circle that is in the UK. It's called Swinside, and it's a smaller stone circle that I physically went to. I also spirit traveled to it. I've never felt anything like this. That stone circle only receives energy from the cosmos. It's like a giant infusion to the earth as this energy comes in and fills the earth's body with cosmic energy. When I stood in that stone circle, I felt high. I felt like I was completely altered in my consciousness. And everybody who went with me on that trip felt the same thing. When I spirit traveled there, I discovered that Swinside was in fact the bridge that we know as Bifrost, the bridge between this world and Asgard, the bridge between this world and another world. And I learned through my spirit travels that the Norse gods actually came through right there at Swinside. But because the ancient ones, or the Pleiadians, were already working with the society there at Salisbury Plain, The Norse gods went ahead and moved on to Norway and Sweden and Denmark. They were very instrumental in sort of creating a lot of what went on in the Nordic countries, but they were much more flamboyant about it. They wanted people to know they were the Norse gods, whereas the ancient ones are more, no, we don't want anyone to know. And they were very hidden and unseen in every chapter of our history. The ancient ones have come through since the beginning of mankind. They have had a hand in Earth's development and, more importantly, the human development since the beginning of our time. I look forward to the next show and having you with me. I'm going to talk about Saint Winifred. In my book, Spirit Traveler, Unlocking Ancient Mysteries and Secrets of 8 of the world's great historic sites, I discuss what really happened. What's the story behind Saint Winifred? And it's going to help you understand how history has been recorded by those who have an agenda of what they wanted you to believe. I can't wait till the next time. See you soon.